Uh, so yesterday we have seen, how to write reusable methods. I mean, how to declare methods, how to call the methods, how to call the methods, and you know what is method definition. The definition means how to declare a method. Correct? How to just declare a method. Give me a sec. Correct? Just give me a sec. Okay. So we have seen so earlier prior to this class, uh, entire methods. But by doing this task, this assignment, right? So what we we have gained. Okay, how to declare methods in Java? Say, yeah. So by doing this yesterday's task, right? The yesterday's task in the lab. So what we have gained? So we gained confidence how to declare methods in Java. So you want insert the data into database. So this is the guys give me a sec. Uh, I guess there is some issue with the blocking. Okay. If it is breaking again, I'll just rejoin the session. For now, let's continue. Okay, so we also seen how to take the input from the user yesterday from the buffer reader input, and then we have inserted the same input into the database, right? So we will provide user input here from the runner class. We will call this. particular. Suppose if you want to insert more teachers, you add more number of teachers in the console, and we can add those ones, and we see how they are reflected in our database, right? Uh, so this is how we have inserted more number of databases. So so far, are you guys comfortable working with Java? I mean, creating a class, declaring a variables, and creating a model classes as per your application, and making a database connection, which is very simple. We know, we discussed multiple times how to create connection and how to use prepare statement and statement interfaces, and insert the data into database. So far, are you guys clear? So this is, one way of communicating Java to uh, the MySQL database. In today's class, we will see how we will be working with files, external files. Suppose if you got some data, you want to read that file, and you want to supply that input. How can you do that? So that is what we will be seeing today: reading and writing the files. Let me take a pause. Any questions so far? So I'm creating a new package. Okay. So the package name is like com.sac9.school.utils. I'm putting as utils. So when I say utils, all the utility like file reading, file writing, and so other third-party tasks. So which will be repeated. All those tasks I'll put under utils folder. So I'll create a utils package here. Okay. So after creating utils package, um, so I'll create a new class here. I'll create two classes here. So one is for file reading, the another one is for file writing. Okay. So this is very simple, guys. Reading a file and writing a file in Java is very simple. So let me quickly do one example, and then I will explain how to work with different types of files. File writer. Okay. So so in the file writer, basically we have two things we need to declare. One is the file writer constructor, which file we are going to write, or are we going to write for the existing file, or we are going to create a new file and write. Okay. So what you want to write to file? Let me create a main method here for now. Okay. So in the main method, I'll show you the example. So for example, we want to write uh, data, string data equal to, so this is a core Java essential session class, which is connected in Pac9 school for creating the basic application, creation of the basic application. So for example, you want to put this string into a file. So that is what you want to do. Okay. So for that, what you need to do is declare file writer. Already inbuilt function will be there. Okay, so I have taken the same class name. So what I'll do, file writer, I'll change the name of this class. File writer helper, I will tell. Okay, file writer helper. So now declare a class from java.io package. IO is what? Input output package. So the file writer class, which is already there, is available in IO package. So we want to import that. File writer fw equal to, how do you declare object of a class? Equal to new file writer. and here you need to provide the path of the particular file. So for example, I'll create in the same class, in the same level, I want to create a file. So what I'll do, I'll put backslash output.txt. So this is what I will do. Don't worry about this error because of IO exception it's coming. So what do you understand by this statement? So I wrote a simple 2 lines of code. Can someone explain what do you guys understand by this?
A string variable has been described as a new object has been defined.
New object of
This
File writer.
yeah, the new object of file writer have been uh, declared. Now why we created this object? We use this object, we use this object and we do multiple operations. What operations we can do? The operations which are developed in this file writer. So for example, fw dot append. There is already a file. If you want to append any data, you can use append. It will take character, single character you can append, character sequence you can append, string also you can send, or you are done working with file writing. You have opened the file to read, to write, right? So you want to close the file. Usually what you will do, if you want to do something with the file, say for example, I want to open this student.java. Okay, so what I'm doing now, to see what is to write, say for example, I want to write one line of code here. I want to add a comment to student.java. Manually, what I'm doing, manually, what we will do, so we are going to double click this file, open it first. Correct? So open it and then you add some comment, save it, and then you close it. This is what manually you are doing, right? The same thing you will do in code as well. So file writer fw equal to new file writer, and we are telling, hello boss, this is the path of the file. This is the path of the file what I want to work. So if there is a file, it will directly look for output.txt. If there is no file, it will automatically create the new file there. Okay. And so file writer has multiple functionalities. Once you open the file, then you write the file. Fw dot write is here, and you can pass the string here. The string is nothing but the data which you want to write. Okay, so now file you have written. So now what we have done, we need to close the file. So fw dot close. So put all this in a try catch block. Why? Because sometimes when you open the file, the IO exception might come. If the file is not available, or if it is a C drive, or if it is unable to create a file like that, multiple exceptions might come. So you put in a try catch block. Okay. So simple guys, just 3 lines of code to write something into the file. Okay. Now let's execute this program and check if a file will be created or not. I'll add a print statement here. Okay. Suppose I'll add here file write successful. Okay. So okay, file write is successful. Now if I refresh here, output.txt file is generated here, right? Output.txt is generated here. Do you guys agree with that? So let me open this file, and if you see, this is the data which we have written in the file. Let me repeat this again. So what we are going to do is, so in today's agenda, we are going to create a file, work with file writer and file reader, and explain different types of files and provide examples how to work with each one of them. Example, Excel sheet or CSV and JSON, XML, text file we are already seeing now as example. The rest I will explain. So you keep in mind and you practice it as assignment. So then, but I will also show how to read and write Excel, because this is very important for Selenium framework when we work with Selenium. So that's why I'm telling you the file writer and reader. For now, you practice with test for today. Excel, if time permits, we will cover today. Otherwise, we will do this when we are working with Selenium. By the time, you will be covered with some more Java concepts. Okay, and we'll see the collection framework in Java. Yesterday we couldn't cover that, so we'll see collections framework in Java. This is very important, guys. Collections framework in Java is very important. Okay, this is the agenda for today. As a part of file say working with files means what we can do with files. Either we can read the files what is there in the system, or say for example, let me open one of the file. So I got two files here, right? uh, can you guys see the screen? So I got two files here. So this file type, what is the type of the file? I hope I'm not talking on mute.
No, Rishi. It's a text document.
Yeah, the type of file is test document. Now I will put one more file here. What is this type of file?
Word document.
Word document.
MS
Word
Word
document.
document. So now let me put one more file here. What is this kind of document?
Excel.
Excel worksheet.
Excel. Similarly,
MS Word.
MS Excel. So similarly, we will have JSON files, XML files. I'll explain what is JSON and XML in a while. For now, say I want to see what is there in this file, or I want to write something to this file. So for example, I will open this file. What is the first step to do? Okay, I know this is the file. First step is open the file. So we have opened the file. So this is the data which is there in the file. Okay, this is the data which is there in that file. So what is the path of this file? It is on desktop. So the path of the file is it's on desktop. If you go to properties, you can see this is the location, see users, and it is under user and it is in the desktop. In desktop, the name of the file is API interview questions.txt. Do you agree? That's the file path. What is file path? The path where the file is saved in the system. The path where the file is saved in the system. Okay, just remember that. Now, so here I have a file. Initially I didn't have a file. Let me delete this as well. Okay, so now what I want to do is so this is I have written a file writer helper class. So what this class will do is, so it will write the file. Okay, just give me a sec. sorry. So I have written a file writer helper class. So what is the agenda of this class? I want to create a file called output.txt, and this is the data of the file. So I wrote one sample line of code. So this is the data which I want to write inside this file. So first thing is there is no file itself in this path. So if you see here, I asked you what is file path, right? So if you put dot backslash, or if you remove and if you create, just put output. Where is this file? This file writer helper Java is in project path. It's in source folder. So in the project level, it will start creating this output.txt. Okay. So it create a file first, output.txt. So for that we use file writer class. So this file writer class is a class within java.input output package. So in the java input output package, using this file writer, we created object called fw, and we initialize this one. And as part of this file writer, we pass the name of the file which we need to connect. And file writer dot, we have multiple operations in file writer class: to append, to close, to flush, to encode, like that. And to write, for write also we have a lot of things. We can wait also. If you are getting, if you are waiting for data, you can wait. We can use multiple options are there. So you want to write some data. So the data is nothing but this one. So we pass that particular string data into this file. So we just printed a statement if the file write is successful or not, and then we close the file. Which means, so if I execute now, first thing, when the this file writer initialization during this object creation, it will create a new object of file writer, and also as part of creating an object, it will create an output.txt file as well. Okay. Now output.txt is created. So now this object knows where it should write. So when you say file writer dot write, you are passing only the data. You are not passing the file path where you should write, right? So why? Because this file writer already knows it should write to output.txt. Okay. And once the write file write is successful, then it will stop. We need to close the file, right? So the close file is done. So if you see here, and if you come and refresh this project again here, done. So it will create an output.txt, and it has written this particular thing. So for example, I'll change the format. So I'll say output.json. What will happen now?
Does it create JSON file array?
Yeah, it will create a new JSON file, and it will write it. See, it doesn't know whether it's a JSON file, Excel file, or say Excel file means .xls means it's an application. So Microsoft
Mhm.
Excel is a application, right? So MS Excel is application of Microsoft product. So what they will do? So if you want to interact with reading or writing with Excel, you have some additional libraries that
License.
are required. Additional libraries. So additional classes you need to write. So here, using the simple IO file writer, you are able to create output.json and output.txt. But for Excel, it's not like that. So for example, let's execute this one. So output.json will be created here. So if I refresh here, so the JSON file is created. If you see, but if you open this JSON file, but it's not in a JSON format. So the JSON format is completely different. I'll explain that how JSON will be there and how XML will be there in later. So for now, so whatever you create, okay, so whatever you create, so as an extension of the file, it will create, and you are writing the data to that. Now as an assignment, what you do is, okay, now you already have this JSON file, right? So you append the data to that. You append the data to that. Okay. So what I'll do, instead of write, I'll say append. Okay. File append successful. So if you go and see this one, okay. Can someone tell why it is okay? Let's put text instead of JSON. Let's put text itself. So we already have a text file. This is the data which is there in text file. So now if I execute this one, it should append one more line. The same line it should append, right? But it's not appending. Can someone tell what is the reason for that?
Should we modify the object related to this multi-line?
See, you are creating file writer object, right? Whenever you
Yeah.
are creating this file writer object, it will create a new file writer. New file writer means what? It will create a new object. So it will always
Yeah.
create new file here. So did you understand why it's overriding the same one? Every time it's creating a new file and it is writing the data to file. Why? Because you are initializing here as new file writer. So if you want to append this one, you want to reuse this file writer, or you need to pass, you cannot pass it here like this. So you need to pass file. So what I will do is I'll give a assignment to perform the file append operation. Okay. Perform file append operation in Java. Okay. It's just adding of one additional line. So you guys check in the Google and you perform this one. Any questions in file writer? Or do you want me to repeat it again?
Harish, if we require to add another line, the same, file, oh, what can we do, Harish?
That's what I told you. You need to
Like,
check in Google.
okay, that's the append.
Yeah, that's a
Mm-hmm.
file append. One more line is
Okay.
file append.
Okay.
Perform file append operation. I wrote file write, right? So you do file append operation. So if you want to add multiple lines, you can add here multiple lines. So slash n represents new line. Again, slash n represents new line. And if you run this one, so you can see this. Okay, so the next thing is file read. Any questions in file writer? Are you guys clear?
Yes, Harish.
So new class file reader helper. Okay. So if you carefully observe here, okay, the file reader, you can also perform that operation. Okay. So let's do a file reader here. File reader. Similar to file writer, in the IO package, we have file reader also. So fr equal to, I'll specify as null. I'm just declaring it as null. Okay. And here fr dot, sorry, fr equal to new file reader. The file is, I'll pass the output.txt. Output.txt. So if I remove this null and if I add this one, it will be same line, but I want to put try catch bug. That's why I'm writing it separately here. Okay, don't worry about that. And why I want to write the try catch for this. I'll show you. File not found exception. What kind of exception we are getting it here? File not found exception means if I delete this file, already output.txt file is there with this data. If I delete this file, then this file reader will not have any file to read, right? So it will throw exception. It will say there is no file. So this is the exception. So you can handle this exception and you can tell to the end user that file is not available. Okay. So then if you want to read the file, right? So while, okay. Uh, so I guess you can directly do string. So system.out.println fr dot. Okay, so let's execute this and see. Okay. Okay, so we need to iterate this file writer, sorry, file reader. If you want to iterate that one, so what we can do with either with fr dot read line is not the right read. So it shows number of characters. So what we do, we need to iterate while ch um, me just can't recollect. Just give me a sec. So while ch is fr dot read line dot contains is not equal to 1. Uh, so I guess we can declare integer here. So what I'm doing is, see, it shows the number of characters that are available in the file, right? So I'm declaring one temporary variable with integer ch. So we are reading if file rated dot read means it will read the value what is there in the output. If it is not equal to 1, if when the file will stop reading is when it will reach the value to 0. When it will reach the value to 0, it will be or 1, it will stop which means the last index of the file, it will not have any value. So if it is not having any value, then we can print the ch here, like care of ch. Okay. And once you open the file reader, you need to close the file reader. Okay. So let me run this one first. Okay, so I guess it is int character while ch equal to f dot read line is not equal to null. Give me a sec. Let me check. It's been ages I have worked on file. equal to -1. Okay, it's every time it's printing in new line. So what I'll do, I'll remove ln. Okay. So simple, nothing complex here. For file writer, what we have done, file writer fw equal to new file writer, and we pass the output file. Similarly, for file reader, fr equal to a new file writer. So, but we have breakdown just because to handle file not found exception. Okay, in the tag catch block. So once I have written this file writer and pass the file path, so now I will have the this particular file data into this file reader object. So I can't directly print the object. Why? Because we don't know how many files, how many lines of data will be there. It can be just one word, one character, one letter, or it can be a huge file. So, for example, you copy some data. I'll copy this all the lab notes, and I'll put into this output.txt. Okay, so this much data I have. So how can the file writer know how many lines is there? Even the file reader, sorry, the file reader FR will know how many lines of data is there in this particular JSON file or text file. So it doesn't know, right? So what we need to do? Okay, it has all the data, but it doesn't know till where it should print. So how you can do is you need to iterate while loop. So this is a basic while loop. I have declared a integer with -1. When you say -1, the end of the file, it is the end of the file. -1 in Java, you just type in Google, it will clearly show. When the file is at the end of the file, it shows -1, the count of the yeah, integer. So what I've done, so while character, I mean the ch, the variable name, while the integer character equal to this file reader dot read. File reader dot read means, okay, it will read this one, the first one. When it will iterate here, it will read this t. Okay, next in the second loop it will iterate h I. Yes, like this it will read. It will read sorry, it will read character by character here. Okay, and if it is not equal to -1, you keep on iterating this loop. So let me write the loop so you'll understand better. Okay, so if it is not equal to -1, the integer value, if it is not equal to -1, it will keep on iterating, which means when it will become -1. So when the last digit here, so when this bracket is also completed, for this last one, the integer value will become -1 when we read the file writer. So now let's see. So let's print that one and we'll see it. Okay. See, first what was the date of the file? This one. Now it started reading all the entire file, right? So file reader is very simple, like similar to file writer. You declare object of file reader fr, and you pass the which file you want to read, and you iterate over the file reader object and see if -1 is there or not. If -1 is not there, keep on printing all the characters which are there in file, and the file will be printed here like this. Are you guys clear? Okay, so now we have worked with the text files, right? Reading and writing a text files, which is very simple. So, for example, I want to work with Excel file. Okay, So I want to work with an Excel file. So here I'll say serial number, teacher name, teacher ID, DOB, DOJ, address. One, two, three, four. So let's some values will be there. Let's assume some values. So this is the Excel sheet. I'll save this one as I'll save on desktop as book one XLS. So if you want to read this file, in Java, see this is A column, row number is 1, A1, which means this is B1, C1, D1, E1, F1. Here it is this one is A2, B2, C2, and if you take this one, it is C4. Since you opened this application, what is this application? This application is MS Excel application. Since you opened this application, you know in B4 column value is Ambika. The column name is B4. So in C4 the value is 3. In B2 the value is Harish. Because this is a user interface application. MS Excel is a UI application. We can see this one. But will the Java program know? My question is, will the Java program know in C3 what is the value that is available? First of all, Java program will not know what is C3. Correct? Java program will not know what is C3. Then how it will tell which value it is there? How can you exactly write for Kirtan? I want to put date of birth as 1990. For Harish, I want to put 1992. For so and so. So if that is my requirement, definitely Java, like how we worked with text files, we can't work with Excel files. Do you agree with that?
Yes, Harish.
So what we'll do, let me quickly open some code. I'm not going to do that code today. We'll do it tomorrow, because you need to understand collections and loops for that. Java program to write and read Excel sheet. So you need to download a library called Apache POI. Okay. So for this also there is a story. So let me explain it. Okay. So here what we have done. So in order to connect this Java program to MySQL, we downloaded MySQL connector Java jar file, right? MySQL connector Java jar file. Okay. So let me create a new one. So here we have Excel sheet. Okay. Is the Excel sheet what we have. Okay. So we have Java program here. We have Java program here. What is the use of this program? So the program, what we will write here, so we will write a code to read and write Excel sheet. Okay, so this is the agenda. So for MySQL server, if you remember, we had a server, we had a Java program, we download MySQL jar files here. Here also, you need to have an API called Apache PYI library. Okay, so if you want, as I told here, see, as a human, since this is an MS Microsoft application, Excel sheet, you know which column will have what value by seeing it in the screen, in the monitor screen. The Java code, what it will understand, it won't understand all those headache, right? So in which row, say for example, in C3, this is C3, I have value A. But if you see here, you'll understand. But Java program can't see that, right? So there Java program will use Apache PYI libraries, to read and to write the Excel sheets, to write the Excel sheets. So what PYI library will contain? Okay, this PYI library will contain some interfaces and classes similar to how we had statement, prepared statement, how we had connection. So these interfaces and classes we had in JDBC code, right? Similarly, this will have workbooks, worksheets. What is workbook? The entire Excel sheet is workbook. One sheet in Excel sheet, I mean this one. This is worksheet, this is worksheet, this is worksheet. All together is workbook. All together, this Excel file is workbook. This is worksheet. So you understand the terminology now? Worksheet and workbook. Okay. So if you go to the code here, I will just give a quick overview. If you guys are free today, you can write this code, or we'll do it together. Okay. Okay. First thing you need to do is you need to download these PYI libraries. Okay. The Apache, these jar files, apache.org.apache.py library. Different versions will be there. You can download any version above 4. Okay, so you need to download oo.xml and py library, these two files you need to download, and the jar files will be there. After downloading the jar files, you need to put them in the library folder. You need to put them in the, like how we connected, how we put here in MySQL connector. We need to download this particular PYI library files, this jar files, and put in our Eclipse project in lib add to build path. Okay, the first step is that after that's the only thing to do. Then in the Java code, if you see here, so you understand these terminologies. Okay, important classes in PYI library. What are the important classes in JDBC code? Connection class and important interface, statement, prepared statement, driver manager. So these are the interfaces and classes. Here the important classes in PY libraries: HSSF, XSSF, and X classes. HSSF is the pure Java implementation of old format of Excel file. H means old format. X means new format. Old format is 2007 and before, and XSF is 2000. It has both old as well as new one. And this one XSSF 3.8 beta API is compatible streaming. Okay, this is similar to whatever is there in HSSF will also there in XSSF, and this one is a latest format for reading large sheets. Okay, this, just remember these terminologies. HSSF means old Excel sheets. XSSF is new Excel sheet. Next is row and cell. You know what is row and what is cell, right? This is called row. The one which is highlighted is called row, and a particular column, this one, for example, this one, this is called a cell. Now which cell we are in? F2. that is cell. Okay. Give me a second. And okay, so here usually when you open Excel sheet, what you're going to do, so you can I created some data here, and I highlighted that one into a red yellow color, and I have highlighted, put the borders for each and every cell, right? Similarly, if you want to write the data in Java, it will write plainly like this. So for example, it will write like this. It will not have any borders. Suppose if you want to put backgrounds, colors or borders, how will you manually perform? So for example, if you want to put color for this color, I'll select this cell and I will go, I'll take the fill color and I'll click this one, right? In Java code also, if you want to highlight something like that, you will have some controls like cell style, built-in formats, comparison operators, conditional formatting, and font formatting, index colors, pattern formatting, sheet formatting. So these are some of the widely used classes in Excel. Okay. And formula evaluator is also there. Suppose if you want to write some formulas in Excel, how we manually write. If you want to write here, you can use this formula evaluator. See, right now we have not learned anything new. This already you know. When you manually work with Excel sheets, these Excel sheets, you know what are these operations. So for whatever the terminology like row, cell, column, formatting, cell style, and these ones, you already know this one. The same thing will be applicable in Java code also. Manually, what you see in the code also, you will write like that. Okay. If you want to write an Excel sheet, if you want to write an Excel sheet, what exactly you do is first you create a workbook. First you create a workbook, then you create a worksheet. So for we also what we have done, so we created new Excel file, and we will save this Excel file. Let me create, let me save this one. Okay, we saved it as book one under in desktop, right? What is this one? This is called as workbook. First, we created workbook. In workbook, in the first sheet, I created this data. In the first sheet, I created teacher data. In second sheet, I can create student data. Okay. So first, manually, we have created workbook. Similarly, in Java code also, first you need to create workbook here. First, create a workbook. Then create a sheet inside this workbook. Okay. Carefully observe. First create a workbook. Okay. Inside that workbook, say for example, if you are working with latest version of Excel sheet like 2007 and above, you use XSSF workbook, XSSF workbook, and you give object for that new XSSF workbook. So workbook will be created. Then you create a sheet, XSF sheet, where inside this workbook you need to create workbook dot create sheet, and what is the sheet name, and you use the data. So this here they are used maps, we can put any kind of data. Okay, that you don't worry, that's the reason I'm not doing this practically now. First I will explain what is collections in Java, and then we can you'll understand what is map, list, array list, set, all those things. And once you have the data, then you insert the data, you which column it should start with and which cell number it should start with, iterate it and set the cell value. How to set the cell value? Create object for the cell, create object for the row, which cell. So first you need to iterate on the row, and then you need to iterate on the cell, and you need to set the value, object of the cell. And once everything is done, and you pass that particular workbook object, workbook dot write out, and inside this out object it will be there, and the output will be like this, and you close this output file, it will be like this. So for text file, very simple, right? Declare file writer, and you tell what is the name of the file, and you pass the string or character or integer, whatever you want to write into that file, and write the file using write method, close the file. But in Excel, because Excel is kind of different kind of file, it's not a text file, it has rows and columns. So this is the thing you need to follow to write Excel file. Okay, do you guys understand so far?
Yes, Harish.
Yeah.
Yes, Harish.
Okay, so that's fine. Don't stress much. This I will write for Excel writer and Excel reader, and I will show you why. Because for every test case in Selenium, what we write, we supply data in Excel sheet only. In Excel sheet, we'll have columns. We'll read the columns, and we'll read the test data, and we'll pass it to the test cases. So I will do this one before we create the framework. Okay, so don't worry about this, but just keep in mind, writing Excel sheets in Java using Java, it's not as easy as the file writer. We need to download Apache PYI libraries. Clearly keep in mind, because these common interview questions. How do you read Excel sheets, and how do you read write Excel files in Java? This is commonly asked interview question. So you need to tell, we use Apache PYA libraries as a API to interact with Java code and Excel sheet. And there are the classes which are available uh, in the libraries, the POI libraries. They are HSSF, XSSF, and XSSF. HSF is old Excel 2000, Excel 97 and 2007 file format, which is XSL, and the new format is XSL. So which where we will use XSSF, and so we will have workbook and worksheet like how we have in a manual Excel file. First we'll create workbook, then we'll create a worksheet, and then we create a cell, create a row, create a cell, and then we'll iterate on the row. We'll get the data, what data we need to write. Then first we'll iterate on the row, then we'll understand which row we want to write. Then we'll iterate on the cell. So once you iterate on the row, what will happen? So first row I need to write, and we'll iterate on the cell. So I have written this, then I need to write this, then I need to write this, then I need to write this. Like that we will iterate on the row. Once the row is complete, then we'll write on second, then we'll go for the first column to second, then third column, fourth column, fifth column. So row and column iteration will be done. Using so we will declare rows and cells, and then once everything is there, we'll use the file output stream, and we'll write out the workbook, and we'll close the connection. So that is how we write the Excel file. Reading also same process. We'll declare the same XSF sheet, workbook sheet, and rows and columns will declare. We'll iterate on each row, each column, take the data into map or some structure or two-dimensional array, and then we'll use that array in our data provider for the test cases. That's what you need to answer. Okay. Okay. So let's see what are collections in Java. Any questions so far? Okay, what you should learn in collections in Java. Okay, so this is very important link. You go through this, read this one. We put in assignment. Okay, so this collection is a framework. Okay, collection is a framework in Java, which was introduced in Java version 1.2. Okay, so where you will have this collection framework means it will have under util package, where we have file reader and file writer.
Util package.
Util package.
No, file reader. I'm asking about file reader. Where does this file reader which package? This is in IO package, but collections will be there in util package. Okay, so So these many collections are there. Okay, list, queue, dequeue, set, sorted set, map. Other concepts are different. Okay, under each thing, under list, you will have abstract list class, abstract sequential list, array list, vector, stack, linked list. So if you want to remember like this, it's not that easy for you. Okay, if you want to remember everything like this, it's definitely very difficult. So there is a framework diagram. Okay, there is a framework diagram. Okay, this is not so clear. Let me take this. Okay, so if you see this one, okay, this let me take this picture. So let's assume that this is our collection object, collections in Java. Okay. Okay. So this collection is the main. It's a framework. So it will have this is the main interface. Collection is a main interface. List is it will have other three interfaces: list, queue, and set. List, queue, and set. So everyone, whoever, most of us are, when we study, right? Even if you are from electrical background, also in the data structures, you will clearly understand what is list, what is queue, and what is set, right? So list is nothing but a data structure which will contain collection of elements. So under list, you have different types of list: array list, linked list, and vector. And under queue, you have priority queue and DQ. Under DQ, you have array queue. Okay. And set is like you have hash set, linked hash set, and sorted set, which is tree set. And map is not part of collection. Map is not part of collection. Why? Because map structure is different. Map structure is different. So I'll quickly try to explain you about list here. Okay. So let's assume there is a structure here. So I'll name this as list. List can be anything. It can be array list, linked list, or vector. What is array list? What is linked list? What is vector? That we'll discuss on later. Okay. For now, just I'm telling about only the interfaces. The red color ones are interfaces here. The blue color, the green, what is that? The green color ones are classes, implemented classes from interfaces. So when you say list, so list will contain elements. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. like this, list will contain some elements. Okay, so this is the structure of list. If it is array list, yes, array list, so it will contain arrays of elements. So up to first it will start till 0 to 15, and then when the values will fill around 8, 9, 10, again it will expand his size, and it keep on increasing the structure like that. So that's array list. And linked list, okay, if you linked list will contain each value. Say for example 1 is there, right? How that 1 will be divided in linked list is, it will be with 3 parts, with 3 parts. So the first part, the middle part will be the value, like 1. This is the value, it will have the value. This part will contain the address of the previous element, address of the previous element, which is nothing but this one. And this will contain, this part will contain the address of the next element, address of next element. So each cell or each value of the linked list will contain like this: address of previous element, current value of the cell, and address of the next value. And vector is also similar, so I will go into detail when we go to practical. And queue, so how queue will have, queue also kind of same structure. So it will also have like this. Okay, but queue will have some rules. List, what it will do, whatever the data it will come, it will throw it here. But queue, it will have some rules. So whatever is coming, you guys would have heard this one, LIFO and FIFO, right? Last in, first out, first in, first out. So these are the techniques of the queue. Okay, so in the last in, first out, what will happen? Whatever the element that has been entered in the last, say for example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is there. So let's assume 9 has been entered last. In the last in first out technique, 9 will be thrown out. When you write this queue, it will enter in the last. When you read this queue, whatever the last element is entered, it will read this one. In first out, what will happen? So whichever has entered the first, when you write, it will enter it here. And when you read also, whichever has written the first, that will be read like this. So these are the techniques in queue. And set is also same kind of structure. It will also have same kind of structure like this. Okay, but set will not allow duplicates. Set will not allow duplicates. See, remember, I'm explaining each and every high level structure. Only this one, the interfaces ones, I'm explaining the structure in a high level. The same questions will be asked in interview if you are attending as a core Java automation tester or just automation tester. What is the difference between list, queue, and set? If ask, you can tell list can contain duplicates, and list has different types of implementation. Array list, one is linked list, and the other one is vector. Array list can increase the size. It will have initially limited size. By the time it start increasing the numbers, its size keep on increasing. So that's array list. Okay, and linked list, each element in the array will contain previous address of the element and next address of the element and the value of this one. So that is the structure of linked list. And vector is also vector implementation, I can't remember, it is also same of array list, but it is synchronized and unsynchronized. That one is there, so that you can read by yourself. And queue will also have the same structure here as a collection object, but it will have techniques like which will enter first and which will exit first. So depend on your application need. Suppose if you whatever is entered in the last, if you want to read it first, then you will use LIFO order, otherwise you will use FIFO order. So depends on your application functionality, you implement this particular queue like that. And set is also same data structure, which will store the values, but it will not contains duplicates. So for example, in queue, I'll say 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, like that. So now here, value 2 duplicates, there are 3 duplicates. But if I want to enter 2 into the set, I can't enter 2 again. So already 2 is there, so it will not take the value itself inside this one. So it will store only the unique values. So wherever your application needs to store only the teachers which are there for department 4. If I ask read the database teacher table and store into a set variable where only department 4 teachers are there. In department 4 teachers, if duplicate, say 3 is there in department 4, 4 is also there in department 4, in department 4 and 5. So for example, so this is, I'll write here, store all teachers who are belonging to department 4 and department 5 into set collection object. Okay, so this is my requirement. Okay, so now what I'll have, so let me quickly go here. Okay, so I'll have this department 4 and department 5. So now here Ambika and this guy Chandan, so these two guys are both belonging to department 4 and 5. So it will read 2 times. First, what I'll do, I'll collect the teachers who are department 4. These 2 guys will come. So along with this Preeti, so 3 guys will come. Next time when I read the teachers who are with department 5, again these 2 guys are coming. So Ambika name 2 times I no need to enter, right? She is already belonging to department 4. So the set will take only unique values here. The set will take only unique values. It won't allow duplicate values to store. So for such requirements, you are going to use set. Okay. So this is called collection interface. Under collection interface, what we have? List, queue, set. I see. If you don't understand, by heart this, because this is a compulsory question that will be asked in core Java interview. If you are not understanding or if you don't know, by heart, just by heart. So collection is interface. It will have 3 interfaces: list, queue, and set. This is the structure of list. This is the structure of queue. So structure of set. The structure is same, but the way they enter inside and the way they exit outside, the way they store the record, the way they increase the size is depends on their future. List will contains array list, linked list, vector. Queue will contain priority queue and dequeue, and set will contain hash set, linked hash set, and tree set. So tree set is, it will sort the order. So for example, 1, 2, 6, 5 is there. That way, if you send, it will sort the order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will sort the order and it will keep the elements ready. Linked hash set, it is the same like list. It will contain, each element will contain the 3 things: the previous address of the list, next address of the thing, and the value of this one. That's about linked hash set. Hash set will contain the general value. How you insert is how you exit, but it will not allow duplicates. None of this will allow duplicates. So this is about collection interface. Now what is there? There is something called map here, but it is not part of collection interface. You should tell why. After I'll explain map, then you can tell why it is not part of collection interface. Okay. So if you see the map structure, okay, if you see the map structure, this is map. Okay, so map will have 2 things. One is key and the another one is value. One is key, another one is value. So it's a key value pair. Map is a key and value pair. Okay, again map has hash map, linked hash map, hash table, and tree map. Tree map, it will sort out the order. Hash table is similar to hash map, but the sorting technique is different. And linked hash map is same. It, I guess it will have the value with this another one. The technique is a bit different. Hash map is based on hashing technique. Okay, internal working and all you can see later on, but for now, if you just keep in mind that map is like key value pair. It contains keys and values. You can have duplicate values. if you have 0, you can put 0. It allows nulls and duplicate values. So for example, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2. So this is the values, right? So duplicates you can allow, but for key, you can't allow duplicates. Key should be unique value. So this key is like our teacher ID. So it should be very unique. It cannot allow duplicates into this value. So this is map. So now you guys tell me why map is not part of a collection framework like list, set, and queue. See, what is the structure of list, set, and queue? Structure is same. It'll for all those things. It can store values, sequence of elements, and sequence of values. It can store. But what is the structure of this one? It has key and it has value. It has key and it has value. So the structure itself is completely different, right? You can't. This structure is very simple. It can store the number of elements. Don't worry about the implementation, how it's sorted, how it will come, how it will. But this structure, can you merge this structure with these ones? You can't do that, right? You can't merge this map into this collection interface. Correct? So that's why map is separately listed of collection interface, but it is equally important. Why? Because so if you want to hold the key and value, this is how you will hold it. Okay, any questions? Do you want me to repeat this? Okay, so what I'll do, I can quickly do this lab for array list. Whichever is important, I'll cover only that. You will mostly use array list, linked list. Sometimes you use queue, but it's not, I don't use very much in often. You use hash set and a tree set. You use linked hash set is also fine. But I'll show example, each one example. Array list I'll show, tree set I'll show, or hash set I'll show, and I'll show hash map or tree map. Okay, so I'll show these 4 examples tomorrow. It will not hardly take 20 minutes or 25 minutes to implement that and show it to you guys. But you guys read this collection framework in Java and come for class while coming tomorrow.
Okay.
And do this assignment today, file reader and file writer, and let me know if you are stuck up anywhere. So we might have one more additional class. I told 8 classes, right? We might need 2 more classes. One is for exception handling and the collections. Tomorrow I'll cover exception handling, collections, and interface. Interface I have not told for you guys so far, until now, because it will be too confused. Tomorrow if I explain interface, then you will know what is the need of creating interface. So interface, exception handling, and collections in Java. So once we cover all these things, then we will start Selenium class. So JUnit, TestNG, I will cover as part of Selenium, not as part of core Java. Okay. Okay, and one more important topic is method overloading and overriding, which is nothing but polymorphism. I hope I already asked you to read about polymorphism. So if you not have read that, read that as well, because I'm going to cover that also. So once we cover all these topics, we can move from core Java, because now you guys are familiar how to read and write external things like a database or files, and how to create a model classes, how to create data access object classes, how to create methods, how to call methods from one class to another class, how to create object of one class to another class and call it from different classes. So this much is more than enough for the framework development of Selenium. So after this, we will start Selenium classes. Okay. Okay,
Okay.
if no questions, we are good to wind up today's class.